You know, swimming lessons, is that what makes kids successful? Well, we know that. There's only one little tiny part of what we can do for our kids is give them swimming lessons. So they look at it from a really big perspective. They've evaluated millions of kids. So let's look at 2 critical assets. There are 40 assets that Search Institute says children need to succeed. These are 40 things that can be put into their lives that can help them succeed. And sometimes it doesn't matter whether they're missing 3 or 4 of any particular asset. It just matters, do they have a pile of these assets in their life? And here are 2 of them that are within your control. So here are 2 things that you can build into your kid's life. Know where they are, parent monitoring. Know where they are, what they're doing, who they're with, and when they're going to be home. Now you know what, that applies a little differently to a 12-year-old than it does to a 19-year-old, right? But the same thing applies on the principal level. So my 16-year-old, she has a curfew. You know, it's not inflexible. If there's something special going on, she knows she can talk to Kathy, my wife, or me, and you know, stretch it out. It's not, you know, we're trying to be flexible, but there is a curfew, and we say you got to be home by 11:30, right? And on school nights, it's different. And so say that. Even my 19-year-old, actually she's 20 now, I say to her, like, where are you going? It's not that I'm going to run the rules on her. She's often driving my car. And so, you know, when are you coming home? I don't give her a curfew like I do my 16-year-old, but I want to know. And if she came home at 5 o'clock in the morning without telling me, we'd have a discussion about that, you know, like that. Though there's no curfew, that's something going on there that I need to know about. And so that's what I'm saying, parent monitoring, and it's a really organic, dynamic thing that suits your family and suits your kids. It's not about me figuring out your rules. Parent nurturing. Listen, praise their efforts, encourage them, tell them you're proud of them when they accomplish something really significant. Listen to their ideas. I don't know about you, but it's tough for me to be a listener. I'm a guy who solves problems and gets stuff fixed, and I sometimes think my kids, they want me to fix their problems. And sometimes I think that about my wife, and that's not a good thing to think about her either. It's just, I need to listen. Get the whole story. How many times do we really, we don't get the whole story right off the bat. Sometimes it takes some listening and asking questions. So that's what we can do. Parent nurturing, listen. Don't praise their efforts for absolutely everything. I was telling the class earlier, I heard a story about a dad whose kid came home from a hockey tournament, and he asked the kid how he did, and he said, I won gold. Dad said, wow, so you're the best team there. He says, no, there were 3 teams, we were 3rd. Dad said, well, how'd you get gold? Well, because the second team got pure gold, and the top team got platinum. We all got trophies, you know, like, so all I'm saying is be relevant with your praise. Don't praise absolutely every little thing. He picked up his sock and threw it into the dirty clothes that bin that you do all the washing for it. You know, that's not maybe necessarily praiseworthy, but nevertheless, your family's different. You may need to praise that. I don't know. But those are 2 assets out of 40 that you can bring to your kids' life. So how do assets protect your kids? Let's look at this with respect to number of students reporting that they've used cannabis in the past 12 months and correlate that to their number of assets that they have in their lives. So you can see if kids have 0 to 5 assets, and let me tell you, if kids have 0 to 5 assets, they're in real deep trouble, okay? They are much more likely to use weed. And here they are, grade 10 students. If they have 0 to 5 assets, way more likely to use weed. But when they have up to 16 to 20, so you know what, there's a little reminder to us. We don't have to be perfect parents. We don't have to build all 40 of these assets into our kids so that they are we just need to make sure that lots of them are covered. And you can get the list of assets off that website, and there are age-dependent lists, because you know, little kids require a little different kind of approach to things than older children do, teenage do. But you know what? I think that's great. From a youth perspective, these are some of the slogans, some of the phrases that when we were doing our research that came up to us is this is what our youth want to hear from us. You know, never give up on me. That means that they messed up, right? And that we got to, you know, restore faith in them again. Never give up, right? Acceptance, respect. Tell me what's good about me. All of these good things that help your kids. A little touchy-feely, but absolutely in your family relationships and family dynamics, very important. Let's get practical. Your kids are going to go to some social functions. They're going to go and hang out at parties. They're going to go to a birthday party every now and then. They're going to go to an end of school party. What are you going to do? How can you plan ahead to help them out? I asked my daughter about what the school, her school, she goes to school at Highland in Dundas, and I asked what what's your school like? She says likely about 30% of the kids are using weed. So that's a lot. You're likely going to get rubbing shoulders with somebody who might offer you weed, and it's not going to be the trench-coated, black hat, 45-year-old ugly guy that's going to offer your kid weed. It's going to be his friends. That's who's going to offer him weed or her weed. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Give me a role-playing sort of scenario, or what are you going to say to your kid? I'm going to help you say no when somebody offers you marijuana. And we're going to talk about this now, sort it out. What would some excuses be that you might give your kids? You've learned about some of the health problems. You've learned about some of the mental challenges. What would you say to your child?
My kid actually told me that, because I asked him,
right,
what would you say if you were confronted? And he said, I'm allergic to it. It always works. Whenever you're allergic to something, everybody just goes, okay.
Yeah, right, because they are all familiar with allergies and peanuts in the school, and you can't bring peanuts or peanut butter to school. So they're all familiar. Oh, allergic, man, well, this guy might die if he smokes a joint. Right? So,
I don't know how it works.
What's another one?
It,
What's another one? How many of your kids are involved in some sport that they really work hard at, and they, it's important to them? Any of your kids? What about music lessons? Anybody involved in music or any extracurricular stuff? Okay. That is something, if they are involved in something that requires a lot of intensity and a lot of commitment, that the drugs are going to interfere with the stuff that I want to do. I want to be a hockey player, I can't be smoking. I bet I have huge lung capacity. My O2 content in my blood's going to be way up. I can't smoke. Right, so those are some of the things you can role play through before it happens. Give your kid a note. What about saying, like to my 19, 20-year-old, my older kids, I've always said, never ever can you drink and have my car, right? If you're going to take my car, you can't drink, period. No number of drinks an hour and that kind of stuff. No drinking, my car, no drinking, period. That's the way it goes.
I think the important thing is to give them information about what it can cause.
Absolutely.
And teach them.
You want to give them information.
The consequences, right?
But you want to hook that to your emotional, the values that you have. You want to say, I don't want you driving. They know that drinking and driving is bad. They do, but they may do it anyway, even though they have the information. But you want to say to them, listen, not in my car. And if I find out that you're drinking and driving in my car, you're not going to get my car. So you need to do more than just give them information. Our kids are smart. They know some of this stuff. They're very smart. So you need to use your leverage as a parent. You're very important to them.
The value system often speaks a lot more than the information, because young people even come to me and they're very resourceful. And I love that. I love the idea that they've gone online and they've looked up and that, the information they're coming to me a lot of the time is inaccurate, but I love the fact that they did it. I think that's an amazing asset for them to have, to be resourceful. But that information alone, whether accurate or not accurate, could potentially get challenged by them to you, versus your value system is not necessarily going to be challenged or changed because it is what it is. So when you're tying it back, as John said, to expectations, that I have expectations of you. I don't want you using marijuana. I'm not okay with that. That is a very different conversation than just giving information that they could potentially turn off to, because they think you don't know what you're talking about. because it might not be what they want to hear, because their friends are telling them a whole pile of other information.
They can't argue.
They can't argue with your
value system.
because it is what it is.
If your kid
right?
comes home and you find a baggie of weed in his pocket because he forgot it was there, you could say, you're not driving my car. You're not, I pay for your cell phone. You know what? I bet you know what? You're not going to enjoy not having a cell phone. Because I'm not paying for your cell phone. Because if you're going to go out and use my phone to make connections to buy weed, I'm not paying for it.
And it says I don't trust your judgment. Right?
And
I don't trust your judgment, and therefore I cannot contribute to your life in positive ways when I do not see that you are.
Right.
I have to see that you're having good judgment and that you're being positive about the way you contribute to your own life.
Restore faith in them when they demonstrate that, hey, I'm not using weed anymore. You're right, it was bad mom, it was bad dad, I shouldn't have been doing that. I'm not using it anymore. You haven't found any evidence of it. They're willing to tell you all the parties they're going to. They're willing to give you some information. And then you can restore that in them over time.
And in being resourceful, direct them to our website.
Sure,
Because
and you can say, hey, go check this out.
Information has been pulled together over a year of, resources coming to the table and getting the information and backing it up with the research. And so the information on our website is absolutely credible, scientifically proven information.
Yeah,
So
I can't emphasize that enough.
That's a credible site for them to be potentially going to.
What's on that website and what we're presenting here today is not just Michelle's opinion and Claire's and my opinion. We don't put anything on that website unless it's been researched and scientifically supported by really credible organizations. Now, let me tell you a little bit before I let you go, and then you can hang around for questions after, no problem at all. But the two pipes on the far left are crack pipes. I just brought them there so you could see those, as opposed to this stuff over here that's used to, those two right there with the tin foil. Those are crack pipes. The rest of this stuff is all used for weed. I just wanted you to see that there is a little difference between a crack pipe and the stuff that's associated to weed. Thanks for your attention. Any more questions that you have, feel free to direct them to Michelle, Claire, or myself, and we'll be glad to answer. But it's 5 minutes after 2. You're free to head out whenever you need to.
What was the website that you're referring to?
Whataboutweed.org.
It's on here.
Oh, okay, I have
Yeah,
that.
it's on that sort of handout card.
Sorry, I sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
no
you.
problem.
Just before you, can I just have your tickets, because we're just doing our last draws, and if anybody has any passports as well, please. Yeah, we did start a bit late.